Welcome to Sport Wrap, the show that you can rely on to bring you the latest news happening locally and internationally. You are joined by Ashwyn Mberi, and just now we'll get into the hit list. We start off locally. The vacuum in regional leadership will soon be a thing of the past as Netball Namibia has embarked on a mission to resuscitate its structures. Rebecca Hoahoses, Netball Namibia's president, said that the process to ensure good governance and accountability at the regional level is underway. The Gravel and Dirt Sundowner Series powered by Holland Namibia kicked off yesterday at Heya Game Lodge on the outskirts of Windhoek. It was nothing but smiles as cyclists showed up for the second 24-kilometer race of the series. There will be a total of 8 races which will take place in the series. Now, unexpected illnesses have resulted in several Deb Marine Namibia Premiership matches being postponed recently, says League Director Mabos Fries. The majority Cricket Namibia today announced their squad of 14 Richelieu Eagles for the upcoming ODI World Cup qualification playoff tournament in Windhoek. Namibia will tackle the USA in the opening match at Wanderers Field on Sunday, followed by matches against Papua New Guinea, the United Arab Emirates, Canada and Jersey. The teams will play each once in a round-robin format at Wanderers and United Fields, with no final to be played. Only the top 2 teams after 5 matches qualified to join Scotland, Oman, Nepal, Zimbabwe, the Netherlands and West Indies in Bulawayo, Zimbabwe for the final qualification tournament in June. Here is Cricket Namibia CEO Johan Muller.
Mr. Johan Muller, CEO of Cricket Namibia, welcome to NTV. With the upcoming tournament starting on Sunday at Wanderers, where Namibia plays their first game, and who will it be against?
Yeah, we're playing USA in the first match. That's part of 5 matches that we're going to play against the 5 other countries that is joining us in this tournament. Maybe just to explain the tournament slightly better, ICC works in a 4-year cycle which runs from 50 over World Cup to 50 over World Cup. That World Cup is now end of this year in India, and there's 10 countries participating in that World Cup. So it means that the previous 3 years was designed in terms of a structure to determine who will be your 10 countries participating in that. Cricket Namibia has played in the Cricket World League 2 competition, where 7 countries participated in. The top 3 of those countries will automatically qualify for the global qualifier in Zimbabwe in June. They will be joined by the lowest 5 full member countries. That looks like it's going to be Sri Lanka, West Indies, Ireland, Netherlands and Zimbabwe, and then they will also be joined by the 2 winners from this competition that we are now hosting. So the 2 teams winning this leg will go through to Zimbabwe to join the other 8 countries, and then the top 2 of those will play in the World Cup in India.
You're on Jersey, and there's another country that's playing for their ODI status in this tournament here in Windhoek next week and so.
Yeah, that's correct. So besides this tournament is quite intense from that perspective. So you play to be the top 2 teams to be able to go through to the qualifier, but you also play not to lose your ODI status. Fortunately, USA and Namibia have secured our ODI status for the next 4 years, so we're fairly safe. But UAE and Papua New Guinea can still lose that ODI status, which coincides with quite a lot of funding from ICC, and that is where Canada and Jersey now have got the opportunity in this event to compete to gain their ODI status or to replace Papua New Guinea and USA or UAE in that seven countries that form part of the Cricket World League 2. So it's quite a lot for them to play for.
Johan, last the countries that's currently in town for the World Cup qualifier in Zimbabwe, who are they?
Yeah, we have USA, who's been here for a couple of days in their prep, and then today we have Jersey and Canada coming in, then also UAE is landing, and Papua New Guinea is landing tomorrow. So those are the 5 countries joining Namibia.
Johan, thank you very much for your time, and we will see you around the cricket field.
Thank you.
The MTC Nestor Sunshine Tobias Boxing Academy, who hosts the Independence Boxing Championship on 22 April at the Windhoek Country Club. The likes of Charles Shinima and Paulinus and Ndjolonimus will be in action. Here is Nestor Tobias speaking at today's launch.
Announce our next fight. It's called Independence Boxing Celebration. You know, Independence was the 21st, but we celebrate through the whole year till the next year. You know, so no question about that. This is a Independence Boxing Celebration. We will be on the 22 April at the Windhoek Country Club. Because we have been doing this for the last 20 years. Every year we have Independence Boxing Celebration, and we will continue to do that. And for sure, just to celebrate our success and our leaders, in our nation, everybody, to celebrate together and to also to tell the nation what we achieved and so on. Of course, if you can see, we are 21 years old now as an academy, and you can see our achievement, our history, where we started, where we are today. When we start the academy, we could not have boxers who can fight 6 rounds or 8 rounds. All the boxers was pro debut, guys who could also fight 4 rounds and so on. But we managed to develop boxing in the country, not only at the empty sunshine, but through the whole country. You know. So as you can see, we have different stables now. We have different boxers, different coaches. You know, that is what we talk about, the history of boxing. That's what we are celebrating when we say we're celebrating Independence Boxing Bonanza. We're not only talking about the fight of the night, but we're talking about boxing in general. You know, so you can see, even now we got four boxers in the top 50. How many countries can say that, or how many stables can say that? Even big promoters in the USA, they don't have some boxers in the top 50, you know. So, but yeah, we with very limited resources, you know, limited budget. Of course, we have to thank our current sponsor and the main sponsor, MTC, and the co-sponsor, PST, and of course the other corporates, the media who contributed to the success. We have to thank them. And of course, what I'm saying, it's not easy. Boxing is very entertaining, very attractive, but it's also very expensive, you know. If you can know the record crowd attending at any sport event, you can see it's boxing, you know. Boxing, I think the record of boxing attending is 135,000. You can Google that as well today. And of course, this guy, Jack Thames, when he used to fight, every time there's over 100,000 at the attendance, you know. Max making, you know, the German guy, the heavyweight, you know, Joe Louis, you know, you talk Muhammad Ali, Zaire, we fought George Foreman, you know, the whole Africa, the whole world was there. So that's boxing, what you can track, you know. That's very entertaining sport. And for sure, also for us, we got also a record. Our first fight, the drama text, on the record there were 7,000 people there. You know, when Hitman fought Aziz Baloy, you know, so that is a record. You know, for sure, we still keep on breaking record. You see when we went around Nafidi, I mean, they never saw that all full like that before. Doesn't matter what is happening there. So boxing is a very attractive sport. And of course, our achievement, we produce already 3 world champions just here locally. Train here, promoted here, born here, and so Namibia can do it. You know. So, and every country in the world wants to have a world champion. So now we are about to announce another big fight, another event to fight. This kid's gonna fight on the world stage. So, but come on the 22nd April, that's also going to be a world stage because Our boxers who's going to be in the main card is John here on my left side and Charles Shinima. Both boxers are world rated. John is unbelievable. He's number 7 in the world now. It's not the story. It's recorded. And Charles Shinima is in the number 12 in the welterweight, in the world rated. Now see, welterweight is a lucrative, very attractive weight, in a very dangerous weight class. And then see, we talk about those guys who's in that weight class in the welterweight. We talk about Terence Crawford, Errol Spence, those guys. So although they're supposed to fight each other, but okay, don't worry about that. But Charles is ready for both of them. Anyone can come here and they can get it. You know what I'm saying? So, come the 22nd April, we're going to have our tennis boxing answer. We're going to have John fighting Bia from DRC. And Charles is going to fight Enrique Lando from Angola. All these guys, they are based in South Africa because, professional boxing in South Africa is well and high level, so they are training, they've been promoted there. So it's going to be a very attractive card. And of course, I'm going to also have another 8 other cards that evening. So the ticket for this event is just going to be 200 general, and then we're going to have a table, sitting 10 for 20,000. It sounds a lot, but it's also to raise funds to cover their yeah. So this event is our first event locally. We were supposed to have already one fight in Australia, but that fight will postpone. But we're going to make another announcement quick soon for energy. So see, we talk about normally we have energy, Haita, John, Charles, fighting the cards, our main cards. But now there's only 2 guys here. So the other guys, they got other equipment somewhere else, outside the country, and we still going to make an announcement. So those few words, I want to thank you guys for coming. Especially our main sponsor MTC, of course sponsor PST Bet to make this happen. Like I said, boxing is an expensive sport, very attractive, and I'm sure we're gonna keep on growing and produce more world champions. Thank you. If you can hear from the champs.
Hey, don't worry about the car, boss. I checked nice.
Thank you, but it's okay, ne? F&B Insurance. Checks nicer.
No.
At F&B Insurance, we provide cover for all your valuables, from your car to your laptop to your phone. F&B Insurance. You value it, we cover it. T's and C's apply.
It's never enough to look from a distance, so today's zoom-in segment looks at none other than Matthew Wright, a triathlete who will be competing in this weekend's African Triathlon Cup. The competition is going to pull a number of triathlon athletes from across the world. Enjoy the interview.
Okay, so we are privileged to have a quick chat with Matthew Wright. He represents Barbados, one of the well-traveled international triathletes who will be competing at the RMB and Prosperity Health Africa Cup Triathlon to be held at Swakopmund on the 25th of March. So welcome, Matthew.
Thank you. Nice to be here.
So could you maybe just tell us a bit about what it was like growing up in Barbados and how you got into triathlon?
Yeah, no, growing up in Barbados was pretty amazing. You know, it's very outdoor lifestyle. You know, we just have warm weather all year round, you know, beaches. So I just did a bit of every sport under the sun, surfing, cricket, football, yeah, swimming, running, yeah, everything. And I guess I first did my first triathlon when I was in primary school. Just the PE teacher was like, you know, you do a bunch of sports, why don't you come try it out? And I did it amongst all my other sports. It was only probably when I was around 16 that it was between kind of football and running track / triathlon. So when I was about 16 years old, I finally made the decision to just stick with triathlon, and, you know, the injury risk with football and stuff, I had to give that up. And yeah, ended up leaving Barbados at 18 to go to university in the UK, because, you know, to chase the triathlon dream. And that was when I was 18, and now I'm 30 years old, and yeah, been kind of racing at the elite level for 12 years. And as you said, traveling all over the world and being able to yeah, live the dream. So it's pretty special.
So now that you've been to the last 2 Commonwealth Games, can you tell us what has been your highest world ranking and some of your previous performances that you are most proud of?
Yeah, so I've actually been to 3 Commonwealth Games. So I went to Glasgow in 2014, was my first one as a young whippersnapper, and yeah, I was just blown away. And yeah, ever since then, it's been an amazing games to go to. And yeah, I did the last one in the summer in Birmingham, where I came top 20. I was 17th. Didn't quite have the race I wanted to have, but was pretty happy. And yeah, the highest I've ever been ranked in the world is 93rd. That wasn't since 2017, so I'm hoping to get back to the top 100, and that's why I'm coming to Swakopmund. Sorry if I pronounced that incorrectly. But yeah, trying to get that world ranking back up, because I'm now just inside the top 150. But the aim is I want to be around 75 by the end of the year. So I'm trying to qualify for Paris in 2024, the Olympic Games. So yeah, so on the points chase all over the world. And a few of my best results, I actually won an Asian Cup in Jordan last season. That was my first ever international win on the World Triathlon circuit. So, you know, even though I'm now 30, I feel like I'm finally kind of hitting the kind of peak of my career. It's been a long slog to get here, but yeah, it's everything's looking quite good, and I'm hoping to build, you know, at the beginning of this season in Africa, in Swakopmund, and racing in South Africa the weekend before. So hoping to build on the success of last season, which included my, as I said, my first international win on the World Triathlon circuit.
So what would you say would be your favorite traveling destination of all the places that you're visiting, being a professional triathlete?
Yeah, I've been to some fantastic places and some pretty, places that I'll probably never go back to again. My favorite place is actually Japan. I raced in Miyazaki, Japan, which is a coastal town, in 2018, and yeah, Japan just blew me away. The Japanese people were so kind and friendly and helpful, and yeah, even though we didn't speak the same language, they were just such amazing people, and I'd go back to Japan again. So that was probably my favorite place, but maybe Namibia can take that to top spot.
You competed in any other places in Africa before, and have you been to Namibia before?
No, I've never been to Africa at all, actually, and so yeah, Namibia neither. So I've heard amazing things. I actually have a cousin that lives in Malawi, and she's been trying to get me to come for ages, but because the schedule is so hectic with international triathlon racing, you know, there's no kind of room for leisure travel, you know, in between. So when I retire, I'll be able to go see her. But obviously I'm coming pretty close, coming to South Africa and Namibia, but not really looking forward to my first ever trip to.
Now, Spotify is where you may listen to music, but Sportify is where you catch up with the rhythm of local sport. Have a look.
So, Mr. Jason, how are you feeling today?
Awesome, man, awesome. Whenever the sun is out, we're happy, man.
Right,
we're happy.
Okay, so when did you start the academy?
We started it this year, earlier in the year, but we've been in place and been in agreement with SuperSport for a long time now. But we're just part of the scouting network. It's the whole school's academy.
And which age group do you look to scout?
We scout mostly from, let's say, not even infants, from 4 to 15 basically.
Oh,
yes.
Right. And how many players do you have on the team so far?
On the roster now we have at least over 60 registered, but we still accepting a few more. But for now, 60.
Oh, yes. And how would you say the progress has been so far? And any achievements?
The season hasn't started yet. We plan on participating in the Oneuptwo League because that's the only active league for the youth right now. Besides, obviously, the training they're getting in their respective schools. But for now, just the Oneuptwo. We're waiting for that, and we'll be participating this year. So.
All right, could you just shed some light on the collaboration between the club and SuperSport?
Well, our collaboration agreement that started in 2020 is basically to take a few of our athletes, a few of our soccer players over to the other side, because we are part of a feeder program with SuperSport and various other schools, part of the global schools initiative. Right. So basically, what we do is we choose a few of our best players and then we ship them off to the other side where we plan to compete with different schools from SA and then different places in the globe. It's that form part of the global schools initiative.
So that was the Marketing and Communications Officer of Doki Schmidt's DS Football Academy at their training field in Eros. Now, we're going to cross over to Ari as he gives us the international outlook in the sport world.
Good day everyone, time for international sports news and starting off with golf news. It's a World Match Play Championship taking place in Austin in the USA at the moment. It is unique because it is singles match play. It is one opponent against another. It's not tournament golf where the best player wins out of the whole field. So they meet all the players in groups of 4. There's 16 groups of 4 and they play round robin, so they play 3 games each, and then the top 16 or the top player from each group, meaning top 16, go through to the next round. The final will be played on Sunday. Briefly, what happened in the first round games, it is the world number 1, 2 and 3, all 3 in action. 2 of them win, 1 lose. So it is Scotty Scheffler, the world number 1. He's also the defending champion. He had a good start. He beat Davis Riley by 1 up. And then it was John Rahm that he lost. He lost to a difficult game against Ricky Fowler, a very experienced Ryder Cup player as well. And the score there was 2 and 1. And then Rory McIlroy, he beat Scott Starlings by 3 and 1. It is also Christian Besaidnout of South Africa playing in the tournament, the only South African or Southern African golfer that plays in the tournament, and he lost his first round game against Tony Finau. He's the highest seed in his group. He lost 2 and 1, but it's not all over for Christian Besaidnout or John Rahm. They can still find ways to find a win in the group, depending on what happens in other games the next 2 days. Continuing with cycling news, it is the Volta al Catalunya that continues. It is in Spain, one of the world's top cycling tours. All the best cyclists in the world also in action there. It was a tough stage 3. It was in the mountains, ended on the mountains or in the mountains. Again, Remco Evenepoel that won. He won by 2 seconds over Primož Roglič. That is Primož Roglič. Primož Roglič is leading still in the general classifications. And in third place, it was Gianluca Sassoni of Italy. He was 13 seconds behind Evenepoel. So a tough finish for them, a very tight finish. But in the general classifications, it is Primož Roglič and Remco Evenepoel. They've got the same time after 3 stages of 12 hours, 42 minutes and 17 seconds. They're leading, and they're followed by Gelo Sissoni of Italy. South African Louis Meintjes is still doing well as well. He moved up a few positions. He's now in 22nd position, but he's 3 minutes and 55 seconds behind Primož Roglič, the general classifications leader. Continuing international sports news with tennis news, it's the Miami Open that continues, and it is again all the top players, men's and women's seeded players playing in the tournament, but not Novak Djokovic. Novak Djokovic are not allowed to play in the USA because he's not vaccinated against COVID-19. Big news from the women's draw is that number 1 seed Iga Swiatek had to withdraw from the tournament because of a rib injury, so she's out of the tournament. And the results from the first round in the Miami Open: Leylah Fernandez of Canada, she beat Leslia Turenko by 6-4 and 6-3. And then also 2 Americans that play: Shelby Rogers of the USA, she beat Sloane Stephens. A bit of a surprise there, and it was in 3 sets. It was 6-4, 3-6 and 6-2, the victory for Shelby Rogers. On the men's
And that's a wrap from the sporting world and me, Ashwyn Mberi. See you tomorrow.